I don't say, how are you all this evening of your time as you create time to exist? As we have said, last week of your time, this interaction shall be entitled Shakonaka Tafunea Katafani Matara. Christmas bells, as you would say in your language, and we will tell a story. Katani Matara, story of the Esasani world spirit. Shakana Ka Tafunea, world spirit bell, Christmas bell in your language. World spirit, we have discussed many times with you, that which you call your Christ consciousness, which has been known by many names upon your planet. To our perspective is the world spirit, that which represents the collective consciousness of each and every individual. It is known in many different various themes, many different forms of expression, and they are all true. For by definition, the world spirit is a multifaceted and multidimensional, multidirectional being. You have had the idea of a scenario, your world spirit played out upon your planet in many ways at various times in your history. And in our world, we have had the idea of our world spirit, our Shakana, played out similarly. Not identical, but similarly to yours. And in this, the full story of this idea, we will relate this evening of your time. What might loosely translate, if you wish, into an Esasani Christmas story. Now you have had, speaking strictly, specifically of the idea of what you call Christ consciousness, the idea of the manifestation in one of the forms, in your physiological forms, for approximately 33 years of your counting in the format you call G. One of the ways, one of the faces, one of the manifestations of the world spirit in that way. In our civilization, there was also, as we have said briefly before, a manifestation to some degree physiologically of the world spirit, but only did it last, in terms of counting, 3 days rather than 33 years, as you understand time. For that was all that was necessary for the unification and the awakening and the recognition of our collective consciousness into one unified direction. Now the idea, if you would, in that sense, give of your participation, will occur in the following format. We have requested that this day of your time, you bring a bell of your choice. Do you have them? Yes. Thank you. The idea, therefore, shall be, there will be a few places within the story we will relate to you where the word vibration will come up precisely in that manner. When we say that word vibration, for a count of 3, every time that word comes up, allow yourselves to give of that vibration which will add to the energy of unification to the story. For the count of 3, ring your bell when we say vibration, and then we will continue. It will happen 3 times within the story. It shall begin as follows. Our world has had history, not exactly like your own, but there have been similarities. And there was a time when we had arrived at what you would call the end of the experimentation and the exploration of the cycle of living in diversified communities that you would call most similarly nations upon your planet. We did not have the rigidity of the borders that you have, but nonetheless we had undertaken many different experiments and many different styles of living to determine that which would represent to us all of what you would call the best out of each style of life that could be applied towards the idea of one direction in the world. With our hearts and our minds and our souls, our spirits and our bodies, we arrived at a point in our history where the desire for the unification of our planet in that way truly manifested in the physiological representation of the world spirit, born, as you would say, into physicality as a child, over the course of what you would call 7-month gestation period. And the idea upon the rendering, the focus of the world spirit into that physical manifestation in our society of Sasani flesh, as you say, of Sasani mind, of Sasani spirit, there became, for 3 days, a threefold experience. As this child was born, in our language, Shakana, the world spirit, physicalized, crystallized, focused and manifested, pinpointed into our physical dimension, a sleep came upon the entire planet. Now, before this time, in our society, we had the notion that you understand that sleep, that reconnection to the higher self, the realignment through dream reality of all that you know yourself to be. And so, upon the first day of this physical manifestation of Shakana, a profound sleep came upon the entire planet all at once, and all drifted into a dream, into a slumber, into an energy sea. And the first day was spent in a unified world dream. A dream that all of our spirit, all the energy, all of our knowingness was one. And as we merged and blended into this world dream, Shakana did vibrate. The vibration and all that were asleep in the dream did feel the energy coursing through every soul, every spirit, in a ripple around the planet, and were unified in spirit in the dream. And they dreamed on through the second day, still asleep in a world dream. And as they now experience the unification of spirit from the highest levels, there was more focus, more crystallization, as these energies spiraled downward into more and more physical materiality. And the mind, in that sense, the emotion of all the beings upon the planet began to draw itself together through a profound gravity. And as they merged, not only their soul, but their heart, their mind, and truly perceived all to be existing within an energy sea, Shakana did vibrate the second vibration. And it rippled throughout the very emotional fabric of our existence, and did blend and crystallize and unify, so that we came as one mind, as one heart, as one spirit. And we slept and dreamt unto the third day, the whole world, breathing as one, slumbering as one, dreaming as one. And on the third day, as the energy of Shakana did crystallize into the final form and manifested in true solidity, all beings on Ethasani did feel the physical intertwinement, the extension that each and every body is of everyone else, as the fingers of a hand. Each body, each feeling, physical, each thought became intertwined and enraptured and in love. Did it pulse as one with all other physical forms. And as the dream solidified, and the veil of physical and non-physical reality was dissolved, did we find that we were not only of one soul, not only of one mind, not only of one heart, but truly of one body, with many faces. And as this realization dawned upon all on the third day, Shekinah did vibrate the vibration. And in a burst of light, did Shekinah render itself back into energy, having accomplished the crystallization of the entire planet. And then, after that physical materialization and the rapid ascension back into non-physicality, did everyone awake from their dream, from their slumber, but not back into the world that we had known, but into a new dream, a new realization, a new understanding that all is one, that all is a dream and the dream is real. From that day forward, as a world, we were awake and awakened by the world spirit of Shekinah, which is all of us, even as your Christ consciousness and Buddha nature is all of you. And in awakening, and in knowing that we were always connected to the infinite, to the all that is, to the source of eternal life. Thus, from that day forward, did we never physically sleep again. For we were in the dream completely, alive and alert and always in the dream, always connected and not needing to break the idea of projecting into unconsciousness to make a connection to the rest of ourselves. Your world is awakening as well, at a different pace, but one that is still beautiful and one still representative of the soul and the mind, the heart and the body that you are. We are overjoyed as a world to be able to interact at this time of your awakening with you, to see replayed at a different pace the recognition and realization that we have created for ourselves, once again replayed through you, to allow us to see the vast beauty of your awakening. We thank you for the gift that you have chosen to share with all of us, the gift that you have allowed us to choose to share with you. For this is an acceleration, the whole idea of what you call your Christmas, an acceleration of the awakening of the Christ consciousness in each and every one of you, and the creation of heaven on earth. Anytime within yourself, within the tone that you are, within the energy that you are, within the frequency that you are, within the pitch you know yourself to be, that is your signature resonance. Anywhere and anywhen. Allow yourself to unify and be one by being the vibration. When you perceive the ringing of all the various instruments that you have brought this day of your time, it is one of the closest analogies we can make for how we perceive all of you. You are different frequencies, different resonances, and that is how we read you. We feel you, we hear you in that sense, and we allow your energy to pass through us, even as you may choose to allow our energy to pass through you, so that together we become one song, one dream, one heart. Individuals always, but one mind, fashioned out of the one infinite, unconditioned light and love of all that is. We thank you for your participation. We thank you for your radiance. And at this time, in return for your gift, what are the gifts I may share with you?
Good day, Bashar.
And good day to you.
I'd like to share a little kind of ritual I did on the eve of the solstice.
All right. Speak up and be bold so that all may share.
Okay. Can you hear me now? Yeah. Okay. So on the eve of the solstice, I had planned like this walk into the darkness in the back hills of my house.
All right.
So
very exciting.
yeah. So my niece and I went, and before we went, I knew we were going by ourselves, and we weren't taking any flashlights or anything to protect us like that. So I just got some tobacco and said a little prayer in the tobacco to just be gentle with whatever like fears it reflected to us on this night of going into the darkness. And so we went out for the walk, and I was kind of nervous and kind of afraid because it was just my niece and I. And usually when I take hikes back there, I'm with other like adults, and I'm not really afraid. So we were walking, and then we came upon this tree, and it just felt like this was the place to bury our tobaccos that we had kind of prayed and meditated and made affirmations in. And so first I thought, well, is this a tree? And then the shooting star came down like right behind the tree. And so I just went, all right, so I buried our tobacco into this tree. And the tree was rather curious. It was, it had like...
About what?
it had like five main trunks instead of like one main trunk.
The number
had like
of humanity on Earth, 5.
And so I was just going to like put the tobacco in this little, in the embankment, in the dirt in the embankment, and somebody said, no, go up to the roots. And so I climbed up on top, and I went to the roots, and when I was feeling around to bury the tobacco, I could feel the roots of the tree on the surface of the ground instead of under, And so I thought that was kind of curious and something to that. And usually I just stay with the tree to let it tell me, whatever it wants to tell me, but I was kind of afraid, and it was really dark.
All right.
Okay, so anyway, I was ready to turn back at that point, and my niece said, no, let's go further. And as soon as she said that, I knew that there would be something up on this clearing that I had passed frequently. And so we decided to go ahead anyway, and we walked ahead, and we were walking ahead, and we talked about her dog to kind of soothe us, and we were kind of a little nervous and a little afraid and stuff, but we just kept on making each step further and further into the darkness. And then when I got to that clearing, right when I knew that something would be there, I saw this car, and all the lights were out, and it was all dark. And I stopped, and I thought, well, maybe this is my friends that have visited me up there before. And I was going to go over to the car, and then these two red lights flashed, where the driver would be, but the car was the headlights weren't facing us like the front door was. And so I could see these two lights like as if they were eyeballs, big red eyeballs, and they couldn't have been made like by a cigarette or a lighter or anything like that, and they were just like went wrong, like went on and went off, and then so I just thought, now wait a minute, are these my friends that have kind of like sent a visitation to me before up there, or what? And I was going to take a step further, and then just something in my gut said no, you know, and so, and my niece at that point at the same time said, I don't think they really think they are, let's go back. And so then we just walked back, and so I was wondering...
Thank you.
Yeah.
There was a definition of, shall we say, a parameter which was your perimeter. Your perimeter to the new you, to the transitional you. It was a symbolic, synchronistic reflection in terms that involved some individuals on your own planet unconsciously, and also some energies that you were perceiving through a gateway that they did not necessarily see in the same way you did, to simply signal the idea of your own understanding of your own limitations and the next step that you will be taking through the next doorway, through the next gate. Go back into yourself and expand through yourself, and you will find that all ideas you would call obstacles and perimeters and limits and barriers and borders will be dissolved by going through the gate of yourself and by forming that connection to nature as you instinctively did. And perhaps, shall we say for now, most importantly, some new information will be coming out in what you call your New Year time about the idea of those roots and the whole idea of why they were exposed on the surface in that way, what it means symbolically to you and your entire society. There will be information also that will be revealed in this your coming New Year about certain occurrences that have been happening upon your planet, certain interactions that have been going on, and where some of that, shall we say, comes from, how it was set up, and where some of that is leading to. But that will be in your New Year, and it will be an event and an opportunity for self-discovery within many of you on a completely different level than we have undertaken in all the time we have interacted with you up to this point. It will be coming very shortly within your New Year time, so that all these synchronistic signals and energy recognitions and doorway recognitions will begin to unfold at a more rapid rate from your memory, and much of the lies you are now unaware of about yourselves will come to the forefront of your consciousness. Mm-hmm. Much of the agreements that have been discussed only in vague terms will now be able in your New Year to become far more specific. We will, in this sense, be able and be allowed to dispense some of this information, but there will be others as well, other levels of consciousness that will endeavor to reflect to you some of the ideas of how you are intertwined with other, shall we say, civilizations in ways that you have not perhaps perceived yet, and perhaps in far more intertwined methodologies than you have allowed yourselves to imagine. We will be discussing all of these things. And we thank you for taking the first steps at self-recognition to the direction of the doorway through which you will realize and recognize the things we will be sharing with you, because once again they can only be reflections of what you already know. But many of you are beginning now to discover these ideas about yourselves and the full expanse of the true lives you have all been living when you blend the physical and the non-physical reality together.
Can I ask if last night this one dream was connected to that, where in the same kind of embankment that this tree had been, was in back of our mirror, I had crossed over it again in the dream, and out from the dirt were these like little tiny whales and little tiny dolphins, and people were saying like, ooh, get away from them. And I said, oh no, I think they're whales and dolphins. And when I picked them up, they were like little ones that would fit in the palm of your hand, and I put water on them, and when I was digging the dirt off around them, I uncovered this skull, and then it had a spacesuit on, and I thought, oh my God, it's a dead astronaut. He's been buried underneath this dirt or something, but his body was too small, like to be human, but his skull was like the size of a human, but his body was really little.
It has to do with your roots and your origins. And we will be discussing much of this for all of you in your coming new year.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Shirley!
Bashar, would you care to share what was the energy that came through at the end of the last session?
It was a blending of all the preparation for a new level of energy that is coming up in what you call your New Year time and will be understood by the name Galactic. But it was a blending of all of us, of the association, many different civilizations, softly, gently blended in with the overall fabric of existence that is known by the nomenclature the Galactic. It was a preparation and a transition.
Thank you. Also, I was talking to the channel before starting, and we were both sharing that we both had very, very lucid IFO.
Thank you.
Dreams last night,
yes.
Connections. Mine was observing you talking to the channel in a chamber on a craft. Any comments?
Simply more of the preparation that is being made for the ability to funnel through more detailed information into your society in your coming new year. The laying down of foundations, shall we say, synchronistically paralleling the organization many of you are now doing, squaring yourselves away in a sense, clearing out the old ideas and truly focusing on that which really represents the new directions you will be taking in this year of conviction, and yes, as some have said, the year of compassion as well. The idea simply is that there will be far more clarity in the direction you will be taking, far more conviction, far more action, far more outward interaction as well as inward interaction. It was simply the delineation of certain steps that will be taken, and there is more conscious recognition now on many of your parts of the dialogues that are going on when you are in your dream reality between us and many of your guides and many other levels of consciousness. You are beginning to remember those dialogues now. They take place far more often than you remember. So that assists you.
Yes. Were you in the neighborhood?
Yes.
Or are you in the neighborhood?
Yes.
Near the moon?
From time to time.
Thank you very much.
We thank you. Sherry.
Welcome to our celebration, Bashar.
Well, we thank you for the co-creation of life and light.
This is your violin-playing navigator here.
All right.
Or navigating violinist, whichever. I have for you a statement. Pick up a loose thread on something you said last month that I would like to finish off if I can.
Weave it right into the tapestry, if you will.
A proposal, and then I bring to you a gift of my own vibration.
Speak up so that all may share.
The title of this is a page from my journal, November 11, 1987. And the title is The Broader Picture. In parentheses, it sounds much like the title of a monologue that Bashar would give. Maybe he had something to do with it, I don't know.
I don't know. We shall see. But November 11th is the date in your society that translates into my birthday. Do continue.
In 1918 AD, the world largely recognized the need for peace as they declared November 11th to be remembered as Armistice Day, the end of World War I, the war that was to end all wars. World War II, and some 50 or so other wars later, the day came to be known in the United States as Veterans Day, symbolizing the acknowledgement of man's inhumanity to man and the seemingly hopeless quest for peace. 2 days from now, I can mark the 64th anniversary of my entrance to this lifetime as a female on this planet, and indeed as a veteran of many wars and conflicts. I have come to the understanding of a broader picture as to my relationship to self, the cosmos, and the higher mind for all that is. I touch more and more from other concerns and anxieties, while at the same time attaching more and more to self, group consciousness, cosmic consciousness, and the condition of the planet Earth, and all that is upon it, within it, above it, and beyond it, in time or no time, in space or no space. We now live in love, light, and peace. The creativity we enjoy manifests in multiple dimensions. We send blessings, encouragement, support, and enthusiasm to others to experience the same. So be it. You share. Thank you. Last month, on your discourse on electromagnetism and crystals, you dropped the idea that there are additional platonic solids.
Did you catch it?
Well, this is what I picked up. I've been looking at it. How about a rod placed down the three planes?
No.
No.
Sphere? In one sense, apart from the sense we have meant it.
Well,
We will give more information on that in your coming new year as well.
oh, thank you. Well, I will go back to the drawing board as well.
Oh, I see.
Now, my proposal is that I recognize the artful way in which you teach. I have been observing you, and my proposal is that at some time down the road, future, speaking in our terms,
Yes.
if the channel has the time, and if you are willing, I would love to share with you a discourse on teaching methods, because that seems to be what I am doing.
That's
Good, that's agreed. Now, I have a little gift to you that I would like to present for everyone's enjoyment here, and if you want to invite your colleagues, obviously they're more than welcome.
they are already invited.
There, that's right. I have an instrument which we call a violin. It has 4 strings, and I would love to play an offering for you.
All right.
We will change the mic. Just a moment.
Each and every one of you may remember that you can utilize this opportunity to take the vibration you will be hearing and feel how it resonates the very chords of your existence. Make no mistake, as you say in those terms, the idea of these vibrations when you find yourself surrounded by one tone in this way, one unifying tone and melody, does unify you, for you are energy and you are responsive in that way, and you do become one being manifestationally, and it does increase your ability to manifest that which you desire. Again, remember that these things now are becoming far less philosophical and far more material in your ability to render them in crystallized form in your reality. So participate. For each and every one of you are instruments. And as one will play, you all play within. Feel the self that is playing. Feel the aspect and the facet that you are. Proceed.
The melody is unique, and it's called the Dance of the Spirit.
Thank you. That particular energy, as we perceive the vibrational tones as they have translated into our dimension, was, shall we say, channeled by the individual in your society who wrote that piece from the vibrational density you would call the etheric or lower astral. It is representative of crystalline formations of the way energy patterns itself within what you would call that etheric or lower astral realm. We thank you for the ability to perceive the translation of this vibration from your dimension to ours.
I wanted to give you a gift, even though I was out of practice.
But you all always give us gifts, just by your willingness to be as fully as you can who it is you know that you are. We thank you. Being who you are, you're never really out of practice at.
We love you, Bashar.
Our unconditional love to you. We thank you. Shooting!
Hello, Bashar.
And good day to you.
Always a pleasure to be here with you.
Ah, pleasure that you are there.
Thank you. I just want to share a couple of things. Since I talked to you last, I've manifested a wonderful place to live, and I've been moving about 5 times in the last year. And I also manifested some studio time for myself, a visionary that's helping me produce my music. And I realized that I've almost asked for things too soon because I'm overwhelmed by all of it to a certain extent. But
the idea is not, if I may interrupt you for a moment, that you have asked too soon. It is simply that many of you, because you have created your physical reality to have, shall we say, a time lag, a time delay, will realize in your mentality when things are beginning to manifest within you, and because of the habitual rituals you are in creating the time lag, it will seem as if the knowing of it and the asking of it was too soon. But it did represent the actual timing of the energy change and when it began to change in the direction that then allows it to manifest in your physical reality with whatever time lag you have in there based on your belief systems. You understand?
yes, I do. What I've noticed has been happening is I seem to be very aware of my power. And
thank you.
It seems as though I'm trying to repress it, however.
Oh, all right. Why?
That's what I was hoping you could tell me.
Oh. But I am not asking you why you are attempting to repress it. I am asking you why it seems as if you are attempting to repress it.
Well, because I have a tendency to be
indulgent. A tendency.
I am, from time to time, extremely indulgent.
Because?
Self-destructive. I don't know.
Because you choose to be.
I guess.
Oh, there's no guessing. There's a
then
choice.
Yes, I guess I've made that.
Right.
Yes, I've made that choice.
You see, this is the only thing that is the quote-unquote tendency, is to forget that it is a choice. And when you start looking at it as if it is a choice and not a tendency, then it starts to occur less and less often. Because you are constantly reminding yourself that you're in control and that it has been, in fact, a choice, not something that is on, as you say, automatic pilot.
Right, but it's not always it's not out of depression or anything. It's out of excitement.
Does not have to be.
You know.
Does not have to be out of depression. Can be out of many things. Can be out of fear. Can be out of just testing yourself. Can be out of playing all sorts of games to get knowledge that you may need for someone else later on. It is for all different sorts of reasons.
Maybe that's it. I have a tendency to...
Tendency.
It's been such a transformational year. I have to be so careful with you. You're really tough.
No.
Really tough.
I do not mean to watch in the sense that you should watch every single word. I do not mean in that sense to bind you in your ability to communicate, but simply from time to time we find that the idea of reflecting back to you the words you use are a very precise reflection of how you think.
This is true.
And therefore, you can get in touch with that. You can realize more consciously what it is you are choosing to do.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm aware of that. I'm just very excited because
we love to play with you when we know you really don't have that much to understand.
I do appreciate that. Anyway, I do want to thank you for giving me the power to manifest my dream.
Oh, but I didn't.
You didn't. I know. Thank you for making me realize it, allowing me to realize.
Well, thank you very much for allowing me to do so.
So how do I get rid of my cold?
Are you having a nice rest?
No, I'm not resting.
You're not resting. Why not?
No, because I'm busy. I'm swamped.
Oh, swamped. You like it in the swamp?
Yes, it feels good though. It feels good though.
All right. Many times what you simply call the cold or the flu in that sense of lower grade conditions are simply in that sense processing that is going on, allowing yourself to change many old ideas and flush them out of your system.
Right.
That in a sense is what you call the purpose of your American Indian, your Native American sweat lodge. In a sense, to sweat those ideas, the old conditions out of you. To translate them into more etheric form so that you can change them. Understand? So you can purify the cycle.
Right.
From physical to astral, to physical, to astral, to physical, to astral. The constant creation of self.
Sometimes I feel like they're a little disconnected. Sometimes like my physical hasn't caught up with what I know I'm capable of spiritually.
We understand.
I oftentimes feel really disconnected. Yeah.
That's what having the feeling is there for, to put you in touch with the fact that if you have a feeling, that means you must have a particular belief, and that's the only way you can get the reaction that you call a feeling, is by having that belief. The feeling puts you in touch with the fact you have the belief, so that if you no longer prefer the belief, you can choose something else.
I know I can. It's just staying in touch with it. But,
let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Thank you. Why is there the assumption that it is difficult to stay in touch with that?
I don't know. For me, it seems that way sometimes. I'm much better at it.
I understand exactly what you are saying. But remember, we are simply giving you an opportunity right now to decide that everything you're saying is nothing but a definition.
Yeah, I'm aware of that.
And that you can change it to whatever definition you prefer to be right now, and that's up to you.
And I do.
Yes.
I'm doing that.
All right.
Most of the time.
All right. But that timing is up to you. You have the ability to do it all the time.
I know.
It's up to you.
If I get enough rest, maybe I'll stay square with it. But thank you very much.
We thank you very much. All perhaps you really need to know is that there really is no rush. Even when you are fully connected and busy on every level, everything still has a proper place and timing, and everything fits. So you don't have to rush. You don't have to juggle to keep everything in place. Relax and act.
I know.
And let it be in the place that it is, for that's where it belongs.
Even a cold.
Well, yes, simply sometimes the idea is that many of you give yourselves the cold either because of the processing you are doing or to tell yourself to relax.
Relax.
To not force yourself.
Of course. Thank you, Bashar.
Well, thank you very much. Shitting!
Merry Christmas, Bashar.
And to you, Shakanaka.
Bashar, I am a college instructor, and I have been grateful for your sharing since March of this year. The teacher in me is excited by the teacher in you.
Oh, thank you. Hot too, as
and
well.
I have become so excited about the content. I want to develop a course at the college I teach at.
Well, go right ahead.
And I wonder if you might have some suggestions for course title or course structure.
Well, that's up to you. We will see what happens in your imagination first. Maybe later we will comment, perhaps in that sense, on what you have created. But the idea, the structure, the imagination, the creation is up to you. The initiation is up to you.
Why I seem to struggle with the idea, and I admit it is my own negativity, is that we might say the material is not traditional in the sense that I have 55 churches in a small town, and the negativity that I introduce into it is a concern that I may stir up a hornet's nest, and yet I feel such excitement to do this.
Are you being you?
I think that might be part of the problem. I tend to be too conservative, and I tend to hold back. And
well, now, your pace is up to you. You don't have to label it any particular way or invalidate it in that sense. Simply, are you being true to yourself?
yes,
All right. Are you doing what you are doing, and do you have the desire to do these things you have said to us through unconditional love? Are you doing what you are doing, and do you have the desire to do these things you have said to us through unconditional love? And do you believe to the best of your ability that you are not really doing something that would consciously hurt anyone?
no, I believe I'm acting with integrity.
All right. Then go ahead. Any stirring that happens will be because of the individuals who have attracted themselves to know that you are who you are and will have chosen to be stirred.
I become aware of the struggle of students, not only in education, but the struggle of their life.
Okay.
And I become excited that a course like this could not only help them in their pursuit of education, but help them in all aspects of their life, and perhaps it is the greatest course that could be taught.
Well, you have done it before, you know. Why not simply rely on your own Atlantean incarnation?
Okay, well, I'll check back in the future.
Allow yourself, in a meditative state, to remember how you did it then. How you reached the very prime levels of their consciousness. How you taught. For how individuals were taught in Atlantean times is qualitatively different than how your systems of education teach now. Get back in touch with that idea and see if you can apply some of that into your present day life framework. All right?
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. Think in light colors, by the way.
Thank you.
Shooting!
Shikonika to you, Mr. Bashar.
Oh, mister.
Yeah, well, we want to keep this serious, you know, or serious in Robach. That's supposed to be funny. Forget it. Anyway, I haven't been here the last few weeks, and I wrote a few questions down, if I might ask them.
Oh, all right.
Well, instead of asking the questions, couple. Now, if you're in with this with Delanka, we can get along fine. Now, instead of asking you questions, why don't I just give you the number, like 28, and you give me the answer?
All right.
28. Oh. This is the big one. 17.
Maybe.
If so, what kind?
Whatever you would really like it to be.
All right. One more question. 23.
23. Synchronicity is the key.
Excellent. Well, now that you've answered most of my questions, this being Christmas and has a lot to do with a little boy named Jesus who came from a Jewish family, and without getting too secular here, the Jews actually came from the Israelites, and going a little earlier, they were called Hebrews, or actually Hebrews, and these Hebrews had a God with no name, or Yahweh. And I was wondering if you can give us a little scenario in this particular area of our planet at the time when these particular people were starting up. Well,
to some degree, it fits into some of the things we said we would be able to share with many of you regarding your history, and this will occur next year of your time.
Next year is 12 months, 52 weeks. Can we bring this down a little closer to present time?
Within what you call the first 3 of your months of the new year.
Much better. Well, Bashar, it's been a pleasure, and you can ring my bell anytime.
We thank you for ringing your own. Sherry!
Hi, Bashar.
Good day to you.
I'd like to ask you what's been happening at SeaWorld with the whales.
All right.
With, one
Yes,
of the
yes,
channels.
we understand.
Yes.
The idea, first, has to do, once again, with the recognition that what you call the orca is the samurai or the sorcerer of your world, of the sea in that sense. And any individual that do not approach that particular consciousness with absolute blended integrity may find themselves out of sync with that particular being, and may wind up creating a great deal of friction or physiological interaction that can be, in some cases, detrimental. The idea simply is that those beings function as a polarity mirror, black and white, and that individuals must approach them with absolute integrity in order to ride the current of their thoughts, in order to blend with the current of their energy.
Okay.
You understand?
Yeah. I overheard a conversation with someone who said that a friend of ours asked another being what was happening, and they were trying to tell the trainers and the people that they wanted to leave and they needed more freedom, but they would come back. Just trust them.
They do require the freedom of the sea.
Yeah.
And the idea is that the idea of confinement is to some degree an expression of lack of integrity. But the idea also is that many stations, many interaction stations are now being created upon your planet to allow these beings to interact with you in their natural environment. They will come back, in that sense, if you do set up these stations. That is one of the messages to some degree. Not that some of them are not willing to exist in what you call captivity form, if you are also willing to learn on your behalf what they have to say. In a sense, because of the mismatch of frequencies, then came the idea of the type of interaction you are describing that was injurious to individuals of your species, because it is showing that there is not enough room for the interaction, and that the interaction is not being allowed to be natural and is not being allowed to be in two directions.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Does this assist you?
Yes, it does. Thank you, Bashar.
Thank you. Sharing.
Good evening, Bashar.
And good day to you.
Okay, my question, I would like you to help me with, sort of just help me synthesize a theme that has been a part of my life.
Synthesize.
Yeah. I'm at a point where things are, I think, are coming together, but it's real confusing.
Oh, all right.
Okay.
Well, do remember that the confusion is part of the process of coming together.
Yeah. Okay. And
Speak up so that all may share.
And it has something to do with the Star of David.
All right.
And the star in Bethlehem. Okay, now I myself belong to the Catholic religion, and I dedicated my life to 10 years to religious institution. Came to a point where all that did not make any sense, the total belief system, and I left it. And basically when I left it, I was in a wasteland, no beliefs at all.
All right, a limbo state.
Yeah, and it was that total chaos.
How exciting!
Yeah, it was great. Okay. And
how bold of you!
Yeah, well, anyway, it didn't feel bold. And then I came to a point where, I don't know, something made sense because although I identify very much with the stranger in Albert Camus' book, his disconnection with life, I certainly didn't want to go and, on a sunny day, kill my mother.
All
that
right.
part I did not associate with.
Your mother would appreciate.
Yeah, right. But at the same time, I also saw that, there were other people like me who were in this chaos.
Yes.
And did not have any belief systems or were not aware of them. And yet we were very, very human to each other. And I didn't really understand where that was coming from. We didn't really have any ulterior motive other than that we really wanted to be that way.
Well,
okay, and so
then it comes from the heart.
Right, I guess. But anyway, it felt right. And so then I progressed and I came across another kind of, well, at least it opened my eyes a little bit more.
Yes.
And at least I'm able to tolerate people who mention the word God or gods and things like that.
All right.
One of my difficulties has always been Jesus Christ.
Yes.
And I've been able to accept that a little bit better when I see him as an evolved being on our planet and a lot of good that came through him.
All right. Do remember that by definition, the Christ consciousness is anything you define it to be. And they are all valid.
Right. That's a lot more acceptable to me. And so what happened is, on my search here, I came across a book called The Secret Places of the Lion. And this book did make a lot of sense to me in many ways because it did deal with some chronological things that I felt difficulties with.
Boy.
One of the very minor names that came up was the name Melchizedek.
Yes.
Whom I, for some reason, associate, and this is not, I don't know why I do this, but I always associated as one of the wise men who came to Bethlehem. In this book, this man talks about Melchizedek, who was mentioned in Genesis and the Psalms, as Jesus was, how that goes. There was Melchizedek and Jesus incarnated. And it didn't ring right to me, but yet there's a real connection there at Bethlehem.
Yes.
And that's what I'm here to ask, because
Thank you.
Melchizedek makes more sense to me than Christ, and I would like to know why.
I understand. Because Melchizedek is, in the ancient language, the remembrance of the world spirit of the world itself, called Maldek, which destroyed itself, and did thus incarnate upon your planet and become intertwined as a part of the Earth's world spirit, now known as the Christ consciousness.
Okay.
Understand? It is the blending of two world consciousnesses into one. The absorption and intertwining of that idea, one from one reference point, one from another reference point. Now they are, shall we say, a hybrid. They are something different, a third principle. Melchizedek represents another direction of incarnation, another direction of arrival upon your planet, to which you simply have a stronger connection than what might be called the original energy of the planet Earth. In other words, the individuals who usually label themselves as being those that have wandered, in a sense have been wandering far longer and far farther than they think.
Mm-hmm.
It involves many other star systems as well. But from certain star systems there were, shall we say, incarnational migrations to another planet in your solar system that was known in those times as Maldek. And upon the destruction of that world, the entire world spirit did begin to incarnate and project its incarnations upon the earth plane to work out the idea of the negativity they had set up. Melchizedek, in that sense, is the recognition of the ancient wisdom, the ancient balance, to some degree, of that world, that it seeks to recover and discover within itself once again, and allow to come to terms in a blended sense with the world spirit of earth as well, so that you become more than the sum of your parts. All are valid. All approaches are true. It is simply that still, in this limbo state of your transformational age, many of you will still recognize one particular pathway as having perhaps a little bit more apropos energy for you than another pathway, because there is still differentiation. In time, within what you call perhaps the next decade or two, maximum 5 decades, all of these particular paths will be undifferentiated. It will be understood to be the one energy that your world simply is at that point, and the labels will not matter, nor will they be used anymore. They will simply be recognized as the collective consciousness of all of you that is your particular aspect of the infinite creation. But for now, there are still remnants of the paths that have been taken, because many of you are now rediscovering what those paths originally were to begin with. And once again, some of this detailed information about the original paths that created the world you now understand and where these paths might be leading will be some of the detailed information we will be discussing again within the coming new year of your time. Does that assist you sufficiently?
Yes, thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much for waking up from one dream into another. Shirley!
Greetings, Bashar.
And good day to you.
I've been so static lately that sometimes I can't hardly breathe.
Oh, all right.
And I wanted to share the reason with you and everybody, and then ask you a quick question about a friend.
Oh, all right.
By January 1st, I will have quit 3 part-time jobs, and I decided I don't prefer to live in LA anymore, so I'm going to take off and head to the Southwest and live somewhere there. I don't know where.
Oh, all right. How spontaneous of you.
So it's pretty exciting.
Yes, bringing your 3 trinary parts together into one whole.
That's funny because there's 3 places I'm considering: Colorado, Arizona, and New Mexico.
All right.
So it's like jumping off a cliff, and I feel like I'm going to fly.
Yes, in a sense.
That's really great, because last year at this time I was real depressed, and I told you about it in a private channeling and said that I got upset one day when I was in Topanga Canyon standing on a big rock, because I knew if I decided to jump off I wouldn't fly, because I didn't believe I could fly.
Yes.
So now it's like, it's a different way of jumping off the cliff.
Very good.
Okay, so I want to thank you, because you've assisted me a great deal, and I'm learning to trust, and
In a positive way.
in a positive way.
Remember, all of you always trust infinitely. Always. Just a matter of whether you trust in negative or positive. You always use the same mechanism of trust to create the reality you experience. So it's not that you're willing to trust, just that you are now choosing to trust in a positive direction instead of a negative one.
Right. I have a friend in Ohio who's been ill for a long time.
Oh, hi. Oh, all
Yeah.
right.
It looks like she's creating more disease. And I sent her your tapes of the channeling at San Jose State University.
Name?
Carol Kigley.
3 bits of information delivered by 3 different friends is coming to your friend. This can assist her, or it cannot, but she will be given 3 new mirrors to look at, 3 faces, 3 new books in a sense to read, 3 new ideas, 3 facets of the persona she can decide she can be or not. These are coming already from guides, from friends, from environment and experience. We can comment on the fact that we recognize this information is coming very soon, very abruptly, and very, very strongly. But we cannot interfere beyond that.
Okay.
But she is going to get the 3 opportunities. It is up to her to decide what to do with the information. But within what you call no later than the next month, all 3 will have manifested in her consciousness. We thank you.
Great. Thank you.
One suggestion that can come from us. This may tie into past life symbology, but it may also ignite something within. You may suggest that she simply look to the horns of the moon and focus on the vibration called Isis.
Isis.
Yes. And see what that does. All right?
Yes.
And the sands of time are within. That phrase, the sands of time are within. Can you repeat that?
The sands of time are within.
Well, thank you very much. You may repeat it to her as well.
I will.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Bashar. I love you.
Our love to you as well.
Thank you.
Shirley!
Merry Christmas, Bashar.
And to you, Shakanasha.
I do a lot of physical work in the type of work that I do. And in the last year, I've injured my back.
All right.
3 different times.
Oh, 1, 2, 3.
Yes, and I've been doing a lot of things to build my body up to where this doesn't happen.
All right.
And I thought maybe you could suggest some sort of help with meditation.
All right. I can suggest, first of all, that 3 times is sufficient.
I'm injuring my back.
Yes.
Okay.
It is sufficient to have released everything you need to have released and to now join together into one idea, one principle, one thrust, one direction, all of the energy you know yourself to be. May I ask you a question?
Yes.
When you think of yourself as energy, how do you picture it? How do you see yourself? Can you describe the idea to us?
Yes, I see a ball of light, but it seems to be contained.
In what way?
Restricted, and then it sort of bursts loose rather than an even flow. It's sort of like when I utilize my energy.
Yes.
It kind of it spurts. It doesn't run smoothly.
All right. Can you create in a meditation a vision of that sphere of light operating smoothly?
Yes.
I'll give you a suggestion. See the spurts and see them sped up faster and faster and faster and faster until every single place on the sphere that a spurt could ever occur will all seem to be happening, pulsating at exactly the same time, like what you would call an atomic pile. You understand?
Yes, I do. I like that.
See that acceleration blending and harmonizing, and in a sense fusing the whole idea of yourself into one notion, one idea that is infinite and eternal and touches everywhere at once. See if that is of assistance to you in your meditation.
Very good. I'll do that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Well, at this time, each and every one of you, one deep breath in And out. A second deep breath in. And out. A third deep breath in. And out. Vibration. How refreshing. Proceed.
Hello, Bashar.
And good day to you.
I had an interesting encounter with a signpost last week.
A signpost. All right.
I was driving down the street in a neighborhood that I'm not normally familiar with.
Ah, very exciting. Exploring. What are you in your little craft?
Yeah.
All right.
And up ahead was a side street, and I became very curious as to what the name of the side street was.
All right.
And as I approached, I saw the name was Arcturus.
Oh.
So I thought, well, this must be telling me something.
And?
And I thought, well, obviously I must have a connection to this energy.
All right. And what will you do with this obvious recognition?
Well, I thought I'd ask you.
All right. You have, and I have reflected it right back. How did you feel when you saw the sign?
It took me actually a couple of days to realize that that was talking about me.
All right, fair enough. When you made the realization, when you made the connection, how did you feel?
Very happy.
Very happy.
Yes.
Do you feel that way now?
Yes.
You still feel the energy?
Yes.
What do you want to do with it? That's a good start. Release. All right, first step. Always the release,
Yes.
the start. Good start. What next?
Go out in the world and do things.
Oh, thank you. Was it pointing in a particular direction?
Well, it was perpendicular to me. I guess it was sticking out maybe more to my left or south.
All right. How do you feel when you think of that particular direction on your planet?
So from here, that would say to me Mexico.
Which creates visions of what type of atmosphere?
I associate that with Aztecs and the sun.
Oh, the sun, star, Arcturus. All right. Then use that perhaps as a symbolic guide. Not that you necessarily have to, in specific terms, explore all the detailed ideas of that civilization, but you might be able to take some, shall we say, cues or clues from the essence of the symbology of the golden light of your central star and the idea of the golden vibration that Arcturus represents.
Okay.
And see what that does. And think of the lushness of that climate on your planet.
Okay.
Feel the fertility of that soil, of the greenness, the emerald greenness, and feel yourself growing, and feel yourself absorbing the light of that gate, and see where that leads you. Act on it. All right?
Okay.
You are already obviously giving yourself all the signs you need. You are doing just fine. There is no need to stop the process to ask what it means, when by continuing to live it, you will see in no uncertain terms, if you apply yourself in the directions that excite you the most. Understand?
I understand.
Does this help you?
Yes, it does.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bright and shining dreams to you.
Yes, to you too.
Oh, always. How does it ring now? Shooting!
Happy Hanukkah, Bashar.
So thank you, and Shekinah, Shekinah Shah to all of you. The idea, Shekinah, simply in that sense, the world spirit, Shekinah Shah, the exalted light of light.
Thank you. I'm afraid to ask this question.
Oh, all right. Maybe I'll play along and be afraid to answer it.
That was an answer right there.
Thank you.
Maybe the whole thing.
Oh, thank you very much. Does that satisfy you?
Well, it's so sort of like...
Oh, all right,
I
go
want
ahead.
to ask you no, okay, I do.
All right.
Okay, 9 years ago, I was given a vision, and it changed my life, and I started singing and writing songs.
All right.
And then at the same time, there seems to be this old pain that is rumbling around in me.
Old pain. All right.
It's embarrassing in front of people. Anyway.
But it's only in front of reflections of you.
Okay.
You're just looking in a mirror and learning about yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm real angry at myself at this point.
Oh, all right. You can use it in a positive way. That's all right. Remember that anger is alignment. It aligns you with what you know is true for you. So use it that way.
Okay. Because I want more than anything to live the vision that's in my heart, and yet this pain still seems to keep bringing up roadblocks and sabotage where everything goes wrong. You know, I lose so.
Oh, everything goes in unexpected ways, but why label it wrong? It is only the label that makes it seem that you are unable to use it when these things happen in a positive way. Remember, nothing has built-in meaning. You give it the meaning you have been taught to give it. Don't give things that happen unexpectedly in your life a negative meaning, and they will not manifest in a negative way.
That's just it. I feel like it's time to absolutely retrain myself. Are there any steps or information that I or anyone else could have to absolutely take steps to not go on the old patterns I was taught or brought up with?
You can rely on your imagination to provide those. I could provide you with any number of ideas, but you'll always allow them to be adapted by your imagination anyway. Your imagination has the ability to give you whatever methodology will work best for you. That is why it is keyed to you, your vibration, your imagination. That's why it's your imagination. In your own meditations, you can simply ask your imagination what will work best for you to allow you to transform these ideas. And it will give you the process that will work best for you. You can do that. The idea of the music, of the tonality can center you, can balance you, can blend you in that sense as well, you understand? But also perhaps here is a suggestion from us. Just as you observed that we did when you said these old pains, I said, old pain. Take each and every one of these definitions and personalize them. Act them out on a stage of your own creation. Be all the characters. Be old pain. Hi, I'm old pain. Be whatever other definitions you have created within your play, within your scenario. Be all the characters and act it out and dialogue with each and every one of them within yourself and see in that dialogue that you will write how you can, in a sense, come to definitional terms so that the different actors will know when it is their turn to leave the stage, to transform into the audience, and to leave the one individual you prefer to be left on the stage acting in the manner you prefer to, by having learned what you need to learn in all that the other characters have to tell you and teach you. You can do that. How's that?
Wow. That's incredible.
Oh, well, it's quite credible.
It's very interesting because someone just came to me who's been coming to my shows and saying he wants to write out my story of how I like my life service. I told him that I felt I wasn't ready.
But it was a signal for that idea.
Yes, exactly. Now all of a sudden what he said makes sense.
Well, thank you very much.
What you're saying. I'd like to ask one little question too.
All right. See if it will fit in here.
See, I don't trust my imagination because I thought...
Oh, of course you do. Remember, once again, you always trust. Your imagination has brought you everything you've experienced thus far. How can you not trust it? It will always create what is your strongest belief, your strongest definition. You don't even have to worry about it. That's automatic. Your imagination always works. It will always work in the direction you choose it to work in.
Well, why does this being always choose to work in pain and sadness.
It doesn't. You do. But you can ask it. If you then create it to seem to be another individual, you can ask it in the play, in your meditation.
Okay.
And it will tell you. And then you'll understand how you can integrate that within yourself. Remember, in becoming the individual you desire to be, it isn't at the expense of these other aspects, it is at the integration of them. So once that being created to be separate from you on the stage in the play has given you the reason for its existence, then you can take that reason back inside of you. So it no longer has a reason or a need to manifest in an exteriorized, separatized, and segregated way. Then there will be no effect from that character in your life because you will have reabsorbed it. Understand?
Yes.
Does it sound exciting?
Yes.
All right then. Curtain going up.
Thank you.
We thank you for allowing us to share the idea of this co-creation with you.
And thank you. And what I was wondering is, I haven't been here in many months, and yet I felt last week I felt this. I felt like you saying, "Come, talk to Dale Lincoln, come sing at next week." And then I saw the channel the next day and asked him, and he said, "Yes, it could be possible that I felt like I felt a communication."
Well, yes. It is the synchronicity of the connection all of you have.
Yeah.
But remember that each and every one of you, though you seem to be separate, are all reflections of each other and are all playing different parts in the overall play.
I like that.
Everything fits and everything works flawlessly.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. We always know that when we see one of your plays, we will always applaud. Very masterfully done it is. Thank you very much.
I love you.
Enjoy your play.
Thank you.
Our love to you as well.
Thank you.
Remember that you are also, each and every one of you, worth loving. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sharing!
Too, Uncle B.
To Auntie M.
Thank you.
I have a sharing and a question. The sharing is about crystals in these little bags, and I'm going to think if everybody gets one, there's enough for everybody to have one.
All right.
That's from love to love.
Well, thank you for your sharing and for your love. Thank you.
Oh, I enjoy it. My question is, I'm pretty sure I read in the most prestigious magazine. It was about I think it was the one about the dolphins and the extraterrestrials communicating that. I read about the whales, something about the whales and the word wheel, and that the whales had given the wheel to the people to help us on our whatever that we're doing. Anyway.
Not in the literal sense. The idea is simply a notion that the cetacean life forms on your planet complete the other half of the cycle of soul that you are. And the cyclical nature of that understanding of togetherness can give you an analogy of your physical wheel. But it's simply that they are imparting to you that they are the other part of the cycle, that they belong in your cycle. Understand?
Yeah, well, that was my confusion, because the second part of that was that I read that the Mayans had discovered the wheel, and they chose not to use it.
Correct.
They used it in their toys because
Correct.
they knew it would roll the earth flat to use the wheel.
Yes.
And then I was wondering, well, now why would the whales have given it to us?
They did not directly,
They
not
don't
in
use
that
them in
way.
the water either.
No.
But so that's what I was wondering about.
What are you wondering now?
So the whales, well, I was just like clarifying the connection between the whale and the wheel.
The idea simply is that your humanity interprets the idea of cycles of motion as a wheel. What you call the wheel of life. They gave you an understanding with their telepathic transmissions that they are a part of your cycle. That you are one world. That you are a wheel of life. Any solar system, any planetary civilization, in a sense, can be considered to be a gear or a wheel within the overall universe. It is simply that the water sentiency, along with the land sentiency on your planet, together create the whole wheel. They are the other side of the wheel that you are.
Okay.
Understand?
Yes.
Well, thank you very much.
I have a quick synchronous sharing there.
All right.
A little verse I read in a beautiful book called Voices of Our Ancestors. It says, medicine wheel mandala at near clear mind, let the sacred hoop be renewed in this time.
Yes, and it shall be.
I got the circle. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sherry!
Hi, Bashar.
Good day to you.
I have a question about a secret you have that I've been curious about for some time, and that's about spontaneity.
Spontaneity?
Yes.
There's no secret.
Well, it seems like a secret to me because
I see.
when I try to be spontaneous, I run into a lot of problems
Well,
with
of
other
course,
people.
because you cannot try to be spontaneous, by definition. The idea always stems back to what we have shared with you about doing the thing that you are most excited about doing. Spontaneity will come as a natural result. You will simply know how to act, in what way to act, when you need to know it. If you are really doing the thing at any given moment that you really love to do. Spontaneity is a part of the package. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. I guess I just don't understand why you haven't changed your mind yet. If I were to do something like what you're doing,
Yes.
every Thursday night at 8 o'clock, channel through Daryl Anka, et cetera, I would be really into it for probably 2 or 3 months. I would be so excited about it, and my whole life would revolve around it.
Yes.
And then I would get turned on by something else,
Yes.
and I would be off on another trip.
But I always am as well. Remember, in the idea of living in the moment, quote unquote, every time I do this is the first time I've ever done it. Literally, as far as I'm concerned.
Now wait a minute, you're still here at 8 o'clock every Thursday
It isn't
night.
8 o'clock to me. That's your time frame.
Well, how can I do the same trip?
By living in the moment and truly understanding that every single moment you call a moment of time is literally a new moment and isn't really connected to any other moment. Except in the sense that it, quote-unquote, occupies the same place that the last moment did. But it isn't the same moment, nor is it really a direct continuation. Continuity is your illusion. Every time we do this with you, it is totally new. For the first time. It is simply that we live that much in the moment. Everything is really that new to us. In the same way, before your society unteaches you, in the same way that you as children live in the moment and are fascinated with everything. Because you see everything as if you are seeing it for the first time, which you are, which a child knows it is. Understand?
So it would be the same thing as if a child would see an opportunity every Thursday night at 8 o'clock to do this thing.
If you wish to put it that way, but the child does not see it as an opportunity every Thursday night at 8 o'clock.
They just happen to notice that.
They notice an opportunity, they act on it. It does not matter where or when it is. It is simply the expression of who and what they are. They have not yet keyed into, as specifically as many of you have, the notion of linear time. They are simply acting in the moment with whatever is there that represents the vibration that they know they are. And so it is always new. Always new. Understand that when you see a flower, and every day you approach that flower, you are always approaching it from a slightly different direction, a slightly different time. Therefore, it is never really the same flower, is it?
Because we're not the same people?
Correct. So, when you understand that every moment is absolutely new, then you really no longer need to express yourself that way. You simply start expressing yourself in whatever way is most representative of who and what you are, which is what I will do. When the energy itself shifts, we can translate this idea into your linear time, saying, well, it will last such and such for so long. But the idea is not really how we experience it. We simply go with the flow. And we know that when the flow changes direction, it is representative of the collective energy that you and we are together in this interaction. And we simply follow it. We simply act on it. It is not that we actually plan it out, time it out. All right, this channeling is going to take 3,287 Thursdays. We do not approach it that way. We simply live in the moment. And in a sense, as a civilization, we are now gaining the ability to actually experience every single one of the channeling we have done with you as one interaction. Simply, in a sense, approached from a different point of view. Simultaneously. Is this making any sense?
A little.
A little. All right.
You're saying that you're beginning to experience all time as now?
Yes. Because we are moving into the idea from what you call physical to non-physical. Our reality is almost completely blended as one idea.
Okay.
Understand?
Okay. I think it's going to take a while for it to sink in.
If you say so. But that's how you create more time. With that definition. It's up to you. For the time you will experience will all be worth experiencing and will all be beautiful. And the sooner you allow what you do create to be worth experiencing, the less of it you will perceive, paradoxically enough. Understand?
Could you, wait a minute, say it one
No,
more time.
one more time, for the first time.
Thank you.
When you allow whatever time you do create for yourself to experience, to be experienced in full joy, then paradoxically you will actually experience less of it. Because when you live in the moment, you don't create as much time.
Because you're not always waiting for something else.
Correct. Only the waiting for something else creates the time that happens in between. Because you then create the notion of here, happening more quickly. You understand?
This is great.
Does that help you?
It does help me.
Well, thank you very much. Do understand, each and every one of you, from one particular point of view I shall now choose, is actually always spontaneous, even when you create hesitation, the spontaneous creation. Understand?
Yes, I do.
So the idea is to simply look at everything in your life as a spontaneous creation, if that's what you desire. And then you will start to see everything being redefined in that way, and you will see the result of that attitude in the action that you perform. Understand?
I don't understand the last thing that you said.
In other words, if you see hesitation as simply one more way to experience spontaneity, then that attitude, seeing even the idea of planning and hesitation as a spontaneous creation in the moment, will actually allow you to manifest in physical terms the idea in a truly more physicalized, spontaneous manner. The attitude of how you look at things, in other words, will determine the way your life unfolds and the way the opportunities come to you and the way you will act on them in a more spontaneous fashion. Does this make sense?
I think so. This might help to explain how sometimes we create feelings of being stuck.
Yes, oh yes. It is only because of the definitions that you give to the circumstance. Because you are saying, this means things are in stasis, not moving. When you see this, that's what it means. It means you're stuck. It means you're not moving ahead. Instead of having the attitude that what is happening is a part of the process, not an interruption in it, and you dive right into it to find out what part of the process it is. As soon as you dive into it, you're in the middle of experiencing it. And therefore, it goes right through you very quickly, and before you know it, you're through it.
So if you think you're feeling stuck, you just do the next thing. You're really not stuck.
Correct. Explore the idea of your definitions of stuck. Remember that anything you call a block is not actually a block unless you treat it like one. Unless you treat it as if it's something to go around instead of something to go through. Discover that what a block usually is simply information that you really need to know that comes in an unexpected package. that you may not recognize on the surface, but that doesn't mean it doesn't belong in your life. Dive into it. Unwrap it. 'Tis the time for unwrapping presents in your world. So when something comes you think is a block, find out what you would have to believe in order to experience it that way. Dive into it. Find out what information it is bringing you. Absorb the information, and the idea you have called the block will unfold as a direction, as a path, in a very obvious and clear-sighted way. Understand?
Yes, I think this must be the real meaning of the statement, this too shall pass.
In a sense, yes. Because everything in that sense, though real, is transitory, because it is all the product of your imagination. Physical reality is only what you dream it to be, what you imagine it to be, what you define it to be. That's all. But that's the reality of it. Does that help?
It does.
Well, thank you very much for being so spontaneous in this interaction.
Well, I was. I couldn't make up my mind till the very last minute which question to ask. I always have at least a dozen.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks, Bashar. Bye-bye.
Hello, Mr. Ambassador.
Hello, Mr. Diplomat.
Greetings and salutations.
And to you as well.
Thank you. I don't have a joke tonight.
Oh, that's all